Folks, as we just saw, Brett Adams is back behind the camera. And for you this morning, we have the 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI. This one is with the dual clutch automatic gearbox, not with the 6-speed manual. We are going to answer your questions for those of you tuned in live. Thank you so much for joining on this Saturday morning here in the US, but wherever you're tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, it's at MilesPerHr, just like the channel name. And if you're following me there, you can ask your questions early, and therefore when we don't get the live Q&A questions coming in, Brett's going to filter some of those in. So, do we have anyone tuned in right now, Brett, asking questions? Otherwise, we'll answer some Instagram and YouTube page questions.
No live questions yet.
Okay.
But Amateur Apple said GTE versus GTI.
Amateur Apple asks whether I would go GTE or GTI. So, here in the US, I believe I don't think we've ever had a GTE here in the US. If we did, it was probably very short-lived. That would be sort of like the electric version of the GTI. They are going to come out with an ID4 GTE, so that will be a sort of performance-oriented ID4, because the ID4 doesn't make tons of power. So that will be kind of interesting. That compared to a GTI, though, I'm still going to go GTI, because there's just something about that 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, just a turbocharged engine, just so much character in this hot hatchback. It just goes together so well. Though the e-Golf is still pretty fun to drive. So I'm going to say GTI on that one.
Adam asked, what's the price?
The price. So this is a European pre-production car right here. So I can give you some price figures. They're charging $48,000 for a vehicle like this in Europe as equipped, but that 48,000 euros. So it's not going to translate perfectly into the US dollars. You can't just go and do a conversion and be like, oh, it's going to cost 50 grand. That doesn't make sense. So no, I can't give you the exact pricing of this model right here. They did just announce pricing for the GTI, so it's going to start at just about $30,500. The SE model with like some nice options like a sunroof is going to be $35,000, and the full-on Autobahn model with leather seats is going to be just under $39,000. This one, kind of as equipped, it has weird options that we're not going to have here in the US and standalone things we won't get, but it's somewhere probably between an SE and an Autobahn as equipped.
Just Vibin asked, how much horsepower is in this one?
Just Vibin. Well, all of the 2022 GTIs are going to make 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. With not a very exciting engine bay, just a big old plastic cover. Oh, wow, it's not even plastic. I thought it was. It's actually rubberized, so it's insulated. That's pretty cool. So I guess if you touch it, it's cool, but if you look at it, it's not impressive. But yeah, 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, so it makes 13 more horsepower than last model year and 17 more pound-feet of torque. As I said, this one is connected to a DSG, their dual clutch automatic gearbox, not to the 6-speed manual option. You want to hear it?
That was that was perfect timing, because Just Vibin said no manual, correct?
No manual, correct, yes. That's a heavy hood. It's not aluminum, that's for sure. Okay, start it up. It's going to soft limit me, so it's not going to sound amazing. Oh, we got a pop. That's not bad. That's not bad for a 2-liter 4-cylinder.
Got some little pops.
Yeah, I got some little overrun. That was fun. What did you guys think of the noise? Do you like that soundtrack better? Hyundai Veloster N better? Honda Civic SI Type R better? What do you guys think? Curious.
I choose the 720S.
Okay, Brett's gonna just be ridiculous. Can't all have 720Ss, Brett. Can't afford those.
Boosted P1 asks, is it sold in the US?
Yeah, so it's coming to the US. They'll go on sale at the very end of this year. So again, this is a European pre-production car By pre-production, I mean there are going to be some little niggles that aren't fully baked, fully sorted out on pre-production cars that will be sorted with by the time it's on assembly lines. But this is a European model, so as it's equipped, it's not going to be exactly like we'll get it here in the US, but it will come to the US end of this year.
Jim Bob asked how much it is. He must have missed the...
Yeah, Jim Bob, so 48,000 euros as equipped like this, but it's not a direct translation to USD. I'm going to say this one as equipped is going to be kind of around 37,000. Because it doesn't have... No, I don't know.
Hayden asked, did they make the manual any nicer to drive?
Yeah, so I can't tell you that because this is equipped with the dual clutch automatic, and I am going to save some of my impressions for the full in-depth review that's going to come out, which will of course have a big asterisk the whole time, being like European pre-production car, like not everything's going to fit and finish be perfect, and certain systems aren't going to be working perfectly, as we'll see when we get to the drive a bit later. Yeah, so I can't tell you how the manual drives, but I agree with you. The older 6-speeds worked, they were just not the best.
Edward Chan asked, what's the 0 to 60?
0 to 60, car and driver got 5.1 seconds, which is pretty darn quick for 241 horsepower, but I believe it. I do. It's very quick, as we'll see. What do we think of the front end? Also, like, these little star lights, little stars, they're just 5 lights. Kind of the new distinctive look for the GTI. Do we like them? Do we not like them? I think it's cool. What do you think, Brad?
I think it's like, it's kind of random.
Random?
It's like a random little 5, like...
Random 5-star?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, so like automakers are always trying to figure out what signature lighting they can do so that you can easily spot their cars from other ones. And lighting is going to be like such a big deal going forward. Like, it's just going to be so much of the car's character, right? So like, VW also put this daytime running light. Is it on right now? Yeah. That's like, that goes across the grille. That's on the ID4. It's also here on this GTI. And so I get what they're doing, and I think it's cool, but it is, to your point, a bit random.
What are the competitors?
Competitors. So I listed a couple. Hyundai Veloster N. That's going to be a bit more expensive to start, like 33 grand. It's kind of between the Honda Civic Si at 26,000 and the Type R at 36, I think, to start. So it's somewhere in between that and in between that on power too. You know, SI making like 205, this making 241, Type R making 306. And then you'd also cross shop with the Subaru WRX, not the STI, just the regular WRX, which we still don't have a hatchback again back in the US, but we need one. That makes 268 horsepower in the WRX, and it starts a little less expensive than this. What else? And I mean, that's kind of its main competitors right there. Those are.
Just vibing wants you to say the tire specifications.
Tire specs. I know they're 19-inch wheels, Bridgestone Potenza tires. What size tires are they? Let's see here. 235s in the rear. I'm imagining it's going to be a slight offset for the front-wheel drive. Nope, 235s at all 4 corners. So they didn't do a staggered stance, kind of like they do. I thought they might, where they did wider front tires to help the rear rotate a little bit easier. But instead, to sort of mitigate understeer, they're doing an electronic limited slip diff in the front.
What do you say we go for a drive?
Yeah, is that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least, well, we can do interior first.
Oh yeah, let's show them the interior. From the back seats first. Also, we don't get our US models, the press cars, never come with tinted windows. This one does. That's how you know it's European. So here we go. Back seats, we've got this, what they call scale paper. That's their name for the fabric seats with the plaid that we've seen plaid on GTIs since the OG. Suede inserts here, red contrast stitching, and I've got, you know, plenty of room back here. good amount of knee room, foot pocket room, headroom. Thank you, hatchback. And yeah, 6 feet tall, and that's my driving position. So yeah, this is all good. I don't think US models are also going to get a third zone of climate control in the back. So that's another European specific thing. But we got plenty of USB ports, USB-Cs down there. So that's the rear seats, and then you got cup holders in the center console. And then let's go to the front. Are there any questions about the interior, or just generally like, show me what it's like?
Mobile Mama said, have you ever owned one, and what did you like about it?
Oh, Mama would know. Yes, I have owned a GTI. Good plug. I had an 07, so the Mark V GTI. I actually had it in white too. They're both white. And what I loved about it was just that, well, I was 17, and so I drove it like a lunatic. And it was super fun to drive car. And yeah, just very, very tossable, but super easy to manage. So being front wheel drive, you couldn't really mess anything up too bad. I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but it'd be harder. So I liked that. So we got a 10-inch infotainment here, touchscreen, pretty responsive. It's supposed to have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but because it's a European model, it doesn't have a Wi-Fi connection, so you have to plug it in. Wireless mode from charging here, and cup holders. And look at this little shifter. Like, this is your gear selector. This is the tiniest thing. I mean, I've seen small ones on like the new 911, but this is even smaller. This is a little, look at this thing, little guy. It's cute. And then you do get a digital instrument cluster, and this one has a head-up display optioned on. All right, should we go drive it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Hang on, grab the MilesPerHr cover. And Brett, it's your channel.
Yep, so. My channel, guys. How's it going? Beautiful Saturday in SoCal.
Did you talk about SSR performance? No?
What?
Talk about SSR performance, your day job. Who just came into the shop? Alex Troy?
Alex Troy.
Oh, was he kind of a jerk?
I didn't talk to him.
Oh yeah. But you heard that he was kind of a jerk.
Occasionally.
Yeah, and I don't have to worry about insulting anyone because my channel is not big enough for anyone to notice. All right, so we'll go over the specs just one more time.
Someone wanted to hear it.
Oh, they want to hear it? Well, I mean, watch the live Q&A from earlier because I can't. I mean, we'll accelerate at some point. You'll hear it from inside the car. But we did get some burbles from the revs earlier, even though it soft limited me to like 3,000 RPM.
That's a nice truck.
It is. She's mobbing. Specs one more time. 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. Setting power to just the front wheels. This is the GTI, it's not the R. And it's got an electronic limited slip differential in the front to help mitigate understeer. 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox is what we have here with paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Any other questions coming in? Or do we have the? We got some Instagram questions. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Would be my answer.
Shyam says understeer ?
Yeah. So that's what they're really doing with the electronic limited slip differential. That and what they call their vehicle dynamics manager to just really mitigate that understeer by using the ELSD to sort of like break the inner wheel, push power to the outer wheel so that it's not plowing the front end. It's not pushing, another way of putting it, with the understeer. So it's able to rotate that much easier so you're not like just pushing your way off the road.
Mercedes AMG A45 or this?
Yeah, so here in the US, we don't get the A45 hatchback. We get an A45 sedan, and that car is like 50, I think it's like 50 grand or maybe even a little more. So it's not really a competitor to this. I have driven it and it's fun, but you know, it's just sort of a different class of car. This is a nice C8. Yeah. This GTI is really kind of competing with the cars that I mentioned. It's like somewhere between a Civic Si and a Civic Type R, Hyundai Veloster N, and the Subaru WRX would be competitors. I really wish we had a WRX hatchback back in the States, but I imagine they'll come back with that in the new generation.
What's your opinion about this car for family?
Family, that's a great question. Well, we're gonna find out. My wife and I will find out later when we try to put a car seat in the back seat. But the fact that I did have legroom back there in my driving position meant that, like, you know, any kid is gonna be able to fit back there. An adult could fit back there. So if you have an older kid, I think it'd be fine. And just the utility that you get with a hatchback is pretty darn nice compared to a sedan. Just having the lift gate that opens up so much higher is really useful. So I think a family could do fine with this. Small family, not a big one. Let's switch up the drive mode. So you got this mode. Everything's like a touch control now. It's not a physical button. You don't even have a physical volume knob. It's just everything's touch. So we'll go to sport drive mode. We'll also crank down on this, and now we're in sport powertrain response. Dude, and there's just no torque steer too, which is really cool. That was always such a thing. It would just crank the wheel one direction or another. Now with electronic steering racks and just the way that they're managing that with the ELSD is just so much better of an experience.
Safety features. Is this a safe car?
Yeah, it's a safe car. They haven't crash tested the 22 GTIs yet, so I can't give you those ratings. But this car does come as standard with auto emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alerts, lane keep assist, and I think adaptive cruise control is like an added extra. At least it is on the European car. I don't know for the US car if that's going to be standard or not. I think it will be.
C. Chan asked if there's a head-up display.
There is a head-up display equipped on this car. It's not a standard thing, but it is on this model for an optional charge.
Does the GTI have auto start-stop?
It does have auto start-stop, and it's definitely working. It's not the most abrupt startup that I've experienced from some of these systems, so it's pretty smooth, which I like. Doesn't mean I want to turn it off right away. It means I'll save that fuel because it's not so annoying when it starts back up.
How usable are the touch controls?
Yeah, they're pretty good. So it's hard to like really answer that question because this is a pre-production car. And I imagine there's some software fine-tuning that they need to do before it hits the assembly line. Because like sometimes the system will hiccup on me, or it's just sometimes too sensitive, where like if I'm touching this, if my finger even brushes against something down here, it'll like jack up the volume, like crank it up or something. Or like when I've been using it, like my palm is like hit the climate control or something, so it's a little sensitive sometimes, but it is very responsive. It's a really quick system. And when I did plug in Apple CarPlay, that one worked well too. So they work. I just, you know, I'm not all about like completely getting over physical buttons. I think there's still a place for them. I think they still make sense in certain applications. So I wish there were a couple physical buttons.
I agree.
Brett agrees, and so therefore Volkswagen, you've got 2 votes, and that's all you need to completely change your philosophy.
Yes. Is this the volume?
Yeah, so this is the volume. So you can drag it, or you can just kind of tap. But you also have a controller here on the steering wheel for volume that you do the same thing. You can just kind of slide your finger, and it goes up. So I mean, it works. It just, I kind of really prefer a physical knob just to turn. It's way faster and less distracting.
I was gonna say, like when you need to turn music down quick, like the knob is
it's so much faster, and it's intuitive, right? Like someone has to learn this system, and they may if you drive this car for a while, like you'll get used to it, right? But it's still something where the knob would just be so much easier.
What is the fuel consumption on this car?
They haven't released EPA estimates, but kind of based on the last one, you're kind of estimating about 28 combined MPGe. So, I mean, really not bad. You can get, it's over 30s on the highway. For this amount of power, that's really not bad. All right, we're going to finally be able to put our foot down as we get onto this on-ramp here. he said, and then the light went red.
Or not.
Or not. Maybe. What are the questions we have rolling in? Anything, if not, then any Instagram questions we haven't gotten to yet?
Instagram questions are done.
Okay.
We went through all of them. The ones I didn't ask you, you already answered.
Oh, okay. How dare I?
Yeah. How dare you answer that without me asking?
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Boost.
It actually is kind of quick. It's 'cause it's so light. It's such a little light car.
Yeah, it's like 3,000 pounds. So it's not, it's not Miata light, but it's still relatively light. And I like the noise it makes too. You're not really getting any exhaust noise, you're just getting a lot of the engine noise, induction noise, those kind of things. Manual mode, there is no physical manual mode, so you just have to pull a paddle when you're in manual mode.
R or GTI?
Oh. That's difficult because, I mean, if you want to save your pennies, the GTI is still really good, really fast, especially this 2022 model. You can get it with a manual transmission. I don't think you can get the Golf R with a manual anymore. So I might be partial to the GTI. And this new one is so much quicker than the last one. It doesn't sound like a lot, like 13 horsepower and 17 pound-feet, but it feels it. It feels way quicker.
Does it feel faster than the last model? Oh, you just answered that.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Oh, you weren't listening to me?
No.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
I was reading the comments.
Yeah, that's how it smells. Oh, but is it faster than the last one? Yes, it's definitely faster than the last one. It feels it for sure. And you especially notice it in like the 0 to 60. And that's without being able to use the launch control system because as part of the pre-production niggles, like I can't access the traction control system at all, and you need to be able to turn that off to use launch control in this car. So I can't use launch control. And yet it still is very quick off the line.
Richard said I think the new R does come in manual.
Oh, that would be awesome if the new R does come in manual. Because then you're getting over 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, still a front-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system, but the all-wheel drive in that one just gives you so much better grip in traction in corners, and with that much more power. It's gonna be fun, but I haven't driven it, so I can just tell you this new GTI is good. And this transmission is so quick. On my GTI, I had the DSG2. It was a 6-speed DSG. And even back then, it was like, wow, this is a really good transmission. And it's just gotten better and better with time.
I kind of like the sound.
Yeah, I do too. I really do like the sound.
I didn't think I would like it.
Yeah. Yeah, the soundtrack, good. Oh, we're going to flip around because that's getting nasty up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a good noise. And, what was I going to say? I don't know. I want to try the manual gearbox because there's just something about the engagement, and the manual is $800 cheaper. Like it's $800 for this DSG. But if you didn't want to drive a manual every day, and if to Hayden's point you didn't like VW's 6-speed manual, the DSG isn't a bad way to go because it's a really good transmission and it's still fun to drive.
How's the suspension?
Suspension, I mean, as we've been experiencing, is pretty smooth, and that's in sport mode. So it does have adaptive dampers. So if we were to go to, I think I went to individual, and I think I set up individual where the dampers are soft. I'm not sure. What I also like is that when you go into manual mode, it'll stay in manual mode until you like pull on the gear selector and go out of it like forcibly. Whereas, you know, like it doesn't have a manual button. Typically cars that need like you click over the gear selector or you hit in manual for the button and then it'll stay in manual mode. But if you just use the paddles, it'll go out of it if you stop using it. This one will stay in manual mode until you actually physically go back to auto mode, which is cool. What did you ask me? You asked me a question. I forgot. Did I answer it?
I think so.
Okay. What's my name?
I don't know. I'm not listening.
Okay, good. Yeah. Also, who are you and why are you in my car? How did you get in here?
Someone said, "Are you live?"
I am live. Yeah. I am alive and I am also live. I am both of those things. There's the start-stop system for anyone who asked. That was it. It just like, you know, you hear the ignition come on, but it's not. It doesn't like shake the car.
Because we're running out of gas.
Oh, are we?
Guys, we're gonna need a tow truck.
Yeah. We need a tow truck.
What airport is this?
John Wayne.
Yep.
Come over to John Wayne Airport. Go ahead and tow over a 720S to replace this GTI with.
Exactly.
Just to mosey about town while we don't have the GTI.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Dream car. What is your? I don't know if we've ever really answered that in live.
Oh man, that sounds like a completely original question. I've never heard of that. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. My dream car. Everyone is curious about that, and I'm excited to share it every time. My dream car is the 2005 Ford GT. I love that thing. Supercharged, V8 engine, mid-mounted. It sounds the business. It looks so cool. It's steeped in racing history. It's just such an awesome car, and I do like it more than the new Ford GT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Although, I mean, I'm not going to say no. If Carl lets me drive the new Ford GT, I'm definitely not going to say no. I just wish he still had his old Ford GT, because that car was amazing. He actually had it in the perfect spec, too. He had it blue with white stripes. And that's my dream. That right there, that car. All right, guys. We're not getting a ton of questions in this live Q&A, so hopefully you guys are excited about the POV test drive, and night drive, and then in-depth review that I will do on this channel. Those are going to be coming out in the next week, I believe. So look for those. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. The folks who were tuned in and asking questions, I do appreciate it. And I will see you again next time. Have a great weekend.